Look, we are living in a super important moment, which is a bit like a mystery story. The year 2024 is super special because some people believe that things written a long time ago in the Bible are starting to happen for real. So, I'm going to tell you about 4 things to keep an eye on, as if we were on an adventure. First, imagine that the world is like a big puzzle where all countries are pieces. Now, all these countries are trying to fit in better with each other, using technology, trade, and even making friends with each other. And you know what else? Some believe this could lead to a large global team like a supergroup that helps make decisions together. In the ancient stories of the Bible, such as the Book of Revelation, they say that one day a very powerful person called the Antichrist will appear and have a huge influence on everyone. And this thing of all countries coming together could be the beginning of this story. It's not just normal politics. It's like a very old plan starting to happen. So whenever you hear about countries forming alliances or working together, remember, it could be a small piece of a bigger story unfolding right before our eyes. Nothing in the world happens alone. Everything is connected in some way. And that's why we must pay attention, like detectives looking for clues. Subscribe to our channel and stay up to date with all our videos. Imagine that the world is like a huge clock, where each piece, big or small, has a super important role in making the clock work perfectly. Even wars, rumors of wars, alliances and disagreements are like these parts of the clock. And believe it or not, everything is organized in a great plan called God's prophetic schedule. Even though sometimes things seem a little crazy and confusing to us, it's no surprise to God. He already knows what is going to happen, as if he were reading a book where he already knows the ending. Jesus, when he was here on earth, and the book of Revelation tell us a little bit about these things that are going to happen. So whenever you see something happening in the world or hear something on the news, try to imagine how it might be connected to Bible stories about what will happen in the future. Think of it this way: nothing happens alone. It's all part of this grand plan. For example, in the book of Revelation, it talks about a very powerful figure who will have control over many countries and people. And one thing that could help someone like this have this power would be to have a type of money that everyone in the entire world uses, like digital currencies. These digital currencies are becoming increasingly popular, and many people think that we should have a single currency for the entire world. This isn't just to make things easier or safer. It is another step towards bringing everyone together into a single economic system. So the next time you hear about digital currencies or any big change in the world, think about how it could be a part of the great world clock that God is watching over. Subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Imagine that we are putting together a giant puzzle called the end of time. Every piece of news, every technological advance, and every change in the economy are pieces of this puzzle. As we place each piece in place, we can see the bigger picture forming. This isn't just politics or economics going on. It's part of a big story that was predicted a long time ago. Now, let's talk about the second piece of this puzzle: technological advances and the mark of the beast. If we went back in time 100 or 200 years, we would be amazed at today's technology. From the first simple machines to the incredible digital world of today, our technological journey has been an adventure of innovation and curiosity, always seeking to discover the unknown. In the Bible, in the book of Revelation, there is a story that says that one day people will have a special mark on their right hand or forehead. Without this brand, no one will be able to buy or sell anything. It may seem like something out of a science fiction movie, but with all the technology we have today, it seems a little less impossible, right? This brand is like a secret code that only those who have it can participate in the trade. So, whenever you hear about new technologies or big changes in the world, think about how this could be another piece of the puzzle. We are living in a very interesting time, where many things that seemed impossible are starting to become reality. And for those who believe in these prophecies, it is a time to pay close attention and prepare for what is to come. Just think what it would be like if every second, everything you did was monitored, like in spy movies. It seems like something from another world, right? But, believe it or not, with today's technology, this is already possible. A long time ago, like 200 years ago, people could barely imagine things that we see every day now. Tasks and innovations that used to take decades or even centuries to create, nowadays happen quickly, in just a few years or months. We are living in a time where old dreams are realities of our daily lives. For example, things that seemed impossible in the past, like a worldwide system that monitors every purchase or sale we make, are completely possible today. The other day, I logged into my Cars app and was stunned to see that it had recorded every trip I'd taken in the last 3 years. I knew exactly how long each trip lasted, where I stopped, and for how long. It made me wonder how much we are being watched. This super surveillance that looks like something out of a movie is the kind of thing that, according to some old stories from the Bible, a character called Antichrist would use to control everyone. The technology that allows this type of control already exists and continues to develop every day. Over the years, many scholars have tried to discover who this Antichrist could be, even using complicated calculations with the number 666. But in truth, no one really knows what this number means. Even so, many people who believe these stories are always watching for signs and preparing for what could happen. It's like living on an ongoing adventure, where each new technological advance can be a clue of what's to come. Imagine that we are on an epic adventure where technology is everywhere, as if we were characters in a futuristic film. With so many advances in biotechnology, digital finance, and personal surveillance, we are beginning to see a pattern forming, a pattern that looks a lot like an ancient Bible story about a special mark called the Mark of the Beast. Now, as we explore this era of super advanced technology, it is super important that we observe carefully, reflect, and try to understand what is happening around us. It's like being a detective looking for clues. Let's also talk about the third part of this adventure. Many people are moving away from the true faith, something the Bible calls apostasy. Apostasy is a complicated word that comes from the Greek and means to turn away or even rebel. It's not just a few people doing this. It's a lot of people turning against what they once believed. The Apostle Paul, a long time ago, had already warned that this would happen. And it turns out he was right, because today, more than ever, we see people questioning and even rejecting what is considered sacred and fair, while accepting things that are not so good. In some churches, we even see leaders who do not follow the teachings they should, celebrating things that are not exactly exemplary. By 2024, it looks like we'll see even more of this happening in many places. So while we are on this great technological and spiritual adventure, we need to keep our eyes wide open and think carefully about everything around us, like true explorers trying to understand a very complicated treasure map. Imagine we are talking about a game where some people are starting to forget the rules. It's as if, in many churches, people who were previously super excited about following the Lord's teachings are now not so excited anymore. The love they had seems to be cooling down, a bit like when ice melts. Here's an important thing that happens. It seems like the church and the world are switching places, like twins secretly swapping clothes. The church is acting more like the world, and the world is infiltrating the church. And that's something to pay close attention to. If you believe and follow these rules, your mission is to not let the world's ideas change you. The outside world will try to convince you to believe in things that don't match what God teaches. It's not about living in a holy and righteous way, but about seeking quick and easy pleasures. The world promotes a life of seeking joy in the moment without worrying about the consequences. It's as if saying that it's okay to do what makes you happy, even if it means forgetting others or even going against God's teachings. And there is something more complicated going on. Some people say they are Christians, but they don't follow what the Bible says. It's like someone saying they're vegetarian but eating chicken and meat. These ideas that are entering churches are worrying. So, if you want to continue playing by the rules, it's important not to ignore the instruction manual, which is the Bible, and not let the world's lifestyle take you off the right path. Remember, it's how to stay in the game, following the rules to really enjoy and win. Think of a path through a dense forest that few people see. People decide to follow. This is the path that Jesus teaches in the Bible, and it is a narrow path and not very easy. Now, many people are choosing broader, easier paths, and this means they are moving away from the beliefs they once followed. It is super important that we choose with all our heart to follow this narrow path, so as not to get lost like many are getting lost. When you decide to follow Jesus, it has to be a very clear and firm choice. It's not just something you do because your friends are doing it. It is a personal decision to live in a way that many do not choose. Even though you see many people leaving aside their beliefs, you must remain firm. Hold on to your faith, follow the true teachings of the Bible and not get carried away by what is around you. Look, 2024 is coming and bringing many promises, but also challenges. The church has an important role not only in protecting itself from this loss of faith, but also in teaching and maintaining the true beliefs that have been passed down from the beginning. Another thing that is changing is the values and morals of society. We are seeing a gradual shift away from the traditional teachings of the Bible, as Paul wrote in his second letter to Timothy. Things like selfishness, pride, lack of respect, and a loss of natural affection are becoming more common. It is essential to recognize and confront this moral deterioration. One of the clearest signs of this change is the increase in selfishness. These days, it seems like everyone thinks about themselves first. This is exactly what the Bible predicted when it said that people would begin to love themselves more than others. It is as if we are living the very words of the biblical warning. So, as 2024 approaches with all these promises and challenges, we need to stay alert and choose to follow the right path, keeping our values firm and helping to keep our community united and strong. Imagine that we are in a big amusement park where everyone is rushing to play the most exciting games and forgetting to take care of each other. Now, some people think that life is just about having fun and seeking pleasure, as if there is no tomorrow. This idea is like a new rule that some people are following, and it's called the religion of pleasure. This religion isn't really about faith. It's more about doing what makes us feel good, even if it's not the best choice. Let's talk about something that's happening a lot. Instead of trying to follow Jesus' teachings, some people are more interested in doing what they want, even if that means not thinking about the needs of their family or friends. And there are even leaders, like famous pastors, who end up becoming more important than the good deeds they should be teaching. The truth is that many things that are not good can seem fun. For example, fights, revenge, and even more serious things like drinking too much or doing bad things to other people may seem cool in the moment. But like a toy that seems fun and then makes you dizzy, these choices have consequences. In the Bible, there is a verse in 1 Timothy 5 verse 6 that says that living only for pleasure is like being dead while you are alive. This means that if we only think about having fun and forget about what's really important, like taking care of ourselves and others in the right way, it's as if we're not really living life as we should. So even though doing things wrong may seem cool for a moment, it's important to remember that truly caring for ourselves and others is what makes life worth living. Let's try to be people who look for good and true things, not just what seems fun at the moment. Imagine that pleasure is like a super delicious candy, but if you eat too much, it ends up giving you a stomach ache. The pleasure that comes from the wrong things is like this. It may seem good at first, but it never lasts long and always leaves us wanting more and more, until it hurts us. Now, think about the future in 2024. Many people will be following the religion of pleasure, which only thinks about having fun without caring about others. But this is selfish and can hurt the people we love, like our family. Instead of chasing these pleasures that don't last, how about investing in the love for your family? Truly love your husband, wife, children. They are much more important than any fleeting pleasure. Remember how your choices can affect your family. The mistakes we make can cause serious problems, such as fights and sadness. The pleasure of these wrong choices is treacherous. It may make you think that it is possible to lead a double life, hiding things, but in the end, these secrets are always discovered, as it says in the Bible in Numbers 32:23. Be assured that your sin will be discovered. As we prepare for the coming years with all these changes in the world, such as global unity, technological advances, people moving away from the faith, and moral deterioration, we have to be even more careful. These are not just things we observe. They are warnings for us to stay alert and protect what really matters. So, as we head towards 2024, let's try to be vigilant and put true love and care for our family above any pleasure that only brings us trouble. This is how we can build a better future, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. Imagine that we are on a great adventure and along the way we find signposts that help us decide where to go. These signs are like important warnings that ask us to think carefully, understand what is happening, and act according to what we believe is right. While the world may be changing and heading towards something completely new, those who believe need to draw strength from their faith and the teachings of the Bible. It's like having a reliable map while walking unfamiliar trails. We need to keep our feet firmly on the ground, take care of our relationship with God and strengthen what we believe. Just as you take care of a plant so that it grows healthy, we also need to take care of our faith so that it remains strong and guides us along the right path.